John Torode says, I don't recall it. I don't believe it happened, he said. But the people who've gone through that report and who've talked to people who were there at the time do believe it happened. And by the way, there's all sorts of things that weren't upheld because they couldn't say for certain they believed it happened. But, on this particular occasion, it's not woke gone mad. He used, I think, probably the worst racial slur there is.
Shame on you, Richard Osman, who treats himself, this is like the author and he's the host of, what's it called, Pointless. And he believes that he is the moral arbiter of the entertainment industry, and he decided to join this witch hunt against John Torode. The Salem Witch Trials of British celebrities being driven by the BBC, the same organisation, can I just remind everyone, that harboured two of Britain's most prolific and famous paedophiles in Jimmy Savile and Hugh Edwards for decades, continues at pace. So now we see John Torode, who was the co-host of MasterChef, never had any complaints against him, but he gets tied up in this investigation because of Greg Wallace being the sort of working class market stall trader who makes a few dirty jokes. And all of a sudden, he's sacked. And he's sacked for what's described as racial language, but no one knows what racial language is being talked about. And Torode himself says, I have no recollection of this apparent event where I said something at a social function after work to a person who wasn't offended, but someone overheard who was. But this is what I call a liberal witch hunt. I think Piers Morgan is right to say Salem wants its witch trials back, because we now learn what John Torode's, according to the BBC, career-ending offence was. Revealed in today's Sun. Race rap. Torode axed by BBC after he's accused of using the N-word singing Kanye West's Gold Digger. The Sun understands John Torode repeated lyrics from rapper Kanye West's hit Gold Digger, which contain a racial slur at an after-work gathering 6 or 7 years ago. So think about this for one moment. He sung a song. He sung a pop song that if you are someone who is non-white in this country, you can sing completely fine. However, if you happen to be white, it will finish you off. And I mean, the details of the story are crazy. So the Sun reports that Torode is said to have used the word again while chatting to a pal on the BBC show's production team, but he denies ever using the word, says he's devastated by it, and that, by the way, this member of the production team was a friend and didn't take offence. So this is nuts. It is total overreach. And can I just say, shame on you, Richard Osman, who treats himself, this is like the author and he's the host of, what's it called, Pointless. And he believes that he is the moral arbiter of the entertainment industry, and he decided to join this witch hunt against John Torode on his own podcast. Watch. Big news. Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
The John Torode thing, which was allegations of using racist language, John Torode says, I don't recall it. I don't believe it happened, he said. But the people who've gone through that report and who've talked to people who were there at the time do believe it happened. And by the way, there's all sorts of things that weren't upheld because they couldn't say for certain they believed it happened. But, on this particular occasion, it's not woke gone mad. He used, I think, probably the worst racial slur there is, and they found that to be substantively true. They found evidence that they were happy with that was true. He is saying, I definitely didn't do it. I certainly can't remember it.
To my superstar panel, Lois Perry and Dr David Starkey, CB. And man, David, let's be honest, you know a bit about being cancelled by the BBC for using racial language. And when is this going to end? Like, what do you think? What do you make of it? Poor John Torode.
Well, of course, what's extraordinary is first, of course, as you said, for a black man to use this word that is now so terrible that people faint swoon, are able to sue for vast sums of money, destroy careers. For a black man to use it is completely fine. Similarly, let's use another word which I can use if I refer to myself, as a pufter or whatever. It's ironical if Lois or you, well, you can too, possibly.
Well, can I say it as well, please?
So just one second. It's this ludicrous fetishization of language. And we see it in all sorts of ways. I mean, can we go back? Because I regard this as utterly trivial. I know you're all interested in showbiz. This is trivial. We spend far too much time talking about people.
Yes, but his career and life is over, David.
No,
I mean,
I agree
they are
on
trying
that.
to drive this guy
not.
to suicide, and Greg Wallace too. And because I've been through it, I feel like when I see it happening, I have to speak up for these people,
Yeah, no, I understand. But my understanding is, now correct me if I'm wrong, ITV is defending him.
Thank God. Yes, they haven't cancelled him for once.
He's still got his job. He's still got his job
on ITV, but not the BBC. I mean, his big job was MasterChef.
That's absolutely clear. But once again, can we just pull back? What is going on? We now have a world in which people's careers are ruined for completely preposterous reasons. I mean, look at the big story that's been at the background all of this week, the Afghan story. There's been this extraordinary fact, as we've now discovered, that the man who's just been appointed First Sea Lord was directly responsible and in command of the unit which committed this leak. He's asked, will he resign? No, of course I shan't. Do you know what? Room was made for him as First Sea Lord. The man who expected to get it was dismissed for having a consensual affair with a fellow officer. In other words, something totally unimportant. We have, in our public life, we dismiss people for trivial reasons and keep them in position for absolutely disgraceful, scandalous conduct. Everywhere you look in the armed forces, in the police, we were talking about the scandals in Essex, everywhere you look, the civil service, people do the most dreadful things, and they're in office. They retain their pensions. They get promoted. Whereas you utter a word out of line, you have a minor affair, and immediately the whole of this preposterous Salem police comes down on you. We need dismissal for proper offences. We have this gigantic, merely verbal displacement activity.
And there's no difference now in the way that something like this is covered between like actual rape. So like a serious sexual crime.
Rape is fine, especially if it's the rape of little white girls and it's men that are of a different background to her that are doing it. Then the BBC is totally fine. The BBC is allowed to spout all kinds of anti-Semitic nonsense, continuously posting stuff and reporting on Israel, which is factually incorrect, and then having to apologise all the time. But what I think's actually happened here, I think, Dan, they wanted a clean slate at MasterChef. So I think that they were just looking for anything that they could do to get rid of him, because it's so ludicrous what they found, allegedly, that I honestly just think that they just wanted to get two new, completely fresh people for MasterChef. And that's why they've gone for him.
Well, yes, because
he looks like a
Lois,
really lovely man, doesn't he? Look at his face. He's not a bad man.
But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now one doctor says that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixers on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. He says they hardly make a dent on your appearance. Some, check this out, can even be harmful to your skin. Recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices so he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. He describes it as almost like Photoshop for your face and says you may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. In light light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public. It's free, it's uninterrupted, where he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. And he says if it helps even one person look younger or feel more confident, he will be thrilled knowing he helped. The video has since gone viral. At first it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then it's racked up over 2.3 million views and counting. The comments and feedback have been outstanding, with thousands of women reporting they look decades younger. One even commented, "Best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you." So you can find out more about this yourself right now. Just go to bhmd1.com/outspoken. That's bhmd1.com/outspoken, or click on the link in the description box below. Now, there is one thing Dr. Lake asks from his viewers. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones. Together, we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So go watch the video at bhmd1.com/outspoken right now, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show. Well, I had Christine Hamilton on earlier in the week, and she was on MasterChef, made it to the final city, was absolutely lovely. But Lois, I would also say this is a big part to do with the fact he is a straight white man, and the BBC treats straight white men differently. And I'll give you an example, Lois, because Naga Munchetty, who's the host of the BBC Breakfast show, and by the way, let me be very, very clear, Lois, I am not advocating for her to be fired. But she has faced two almost identical allegations. So not in terms of racism, of course, but that she made a sexualized joke, which caused a complaint from some, prissy staff member at BBC Radio 5 Live where she works. And that she also was accused of bullying a younger staff member at BBC Breakfast. But of course, the BBC seems to have total double standards, because why is there one rule for John Torode, who's out, but a completely different rule for Naga Munchetty? Well, we know why. We know why.
Well, we know, don't we? But the question is, how can they justify it without accepting what we know to be the truth? And that you're right. White men, I think white men, whether they're gay or straight, are actually penalised at the BBC. I don't actually believe that, that your sexuality has anything to do with it now. I think it's just white men, and especially white men of 40 and over. There seems to be, they've got rid of nearly everybody now, haven't they? I mean, if you want to see any white man over the age of 40, you have to watch Talk TV or GB News or your wonderful show. Are you over the age of 40, Dad?
Oh yes, I am. Of course I am.
Oh right, okay.
Of course I am.
I managed to slip in a little
flattering me. What about you, David? Are you?
I'm 27, and I've been 27 for 16 years.
Well, look, I love you both. You are two of my absolute favourite guests, and goodness, we've covered it all today. So, of course, Dr. David Starkey, CBE, are now on the advisory board of Restore Britain. And by the way, I've got to tell everyone to subscribe because I love it. David Starkey has his own YouTube channel now where you see a whole plethora of fascinating content. And Lois Perry is, of course, the UK and Europe director for the Heartlands Institute. Thank you both so much. But now we're going to reveal today's worst Briton in the world. Well, actually, it's this week's the worst Briton in the world this week. And to your comments, Michelle Bennett Snow 5228 says it should be Zia Youssef, who is making a mockery of Reform and Nigel Farage. But Lou Masters 8197 says, I have to say those who banned the British schoolgirl from school because she was wearing a Union Jack flag dress. And she is one of the nominees. Who Galloping Cat 1745 says it has to be Jane Delves. What is worse, than crushing a child's spirit? Her school systematically worked to program children to be ashamed of their country and culture. Not cool at all. From Cosmic Lover 293, Rishi Sunak. And she's passionate about this. She says, you liar, Sunak, you bloody treacherous idiot. Why didn't you vet these people? This is on the Afghan scandal, of course. Why didn't you ask the people of this country? You have put us in danger, put us almost in bankruptcy. All those people who have come in were not interpreters. You can't find out who they are. 19 members of one family living scot-free, encouraged to pay for compensation from the taxpayer, paying the legal aid, paying for everything. You're all liars. I hope the Tories and Labour Party is blown out of the water, not literally, colloquially. You lot will never be forgiven, ever. And I have to be honest, Cosmic Lover, I think you're right. I really, really do. So these results are going to be very interesting, actually. So let's get to them. In fourth position, with 8% of the vote, it is the anti-Union Jack Jess head teacher from rugby, Jane Delves. In third position, with 25% of the vote, the Reform UK head of Doge, Zia Youssef. The runner-up, with 28% of the vote, Labour Minister Darren Jones, for being completely unable to say, well, what a modest income is, even though he's a Minister of the Treasury. But today's not Union Jackass, he was yesterday's Union Jackass, the worst Briton in the world this week, the former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, for overseeing that absolutely appalling Afghan cover-up scandal. And I do have to ask, all of those mainstream media organisations, why aren't you outside Rishi Sunak's house today? Why aren't you demanding accountability from the former Prime Minister? I think it stinks, actually. And I'll tell you why. Because he's part of the establishment, so they leave him alone. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.